What's up, Mortgage Coach? Welcome to another Mortgage Coach call. Today, I have Mr. Sosi Avila. What's up, Sosi?
What's up, Dave? Hey, everyone.
So, Sosi, you really inspire me, bro. I think I've told you that a number of times on social media. Is this the second or third time I've interviewed you?
Second for you, third on Mortgage Coach. The last time was with Todd Bookspan.
Nice. Well, dude, you really do. You define a modern mortgage professional. You define a purpose-driven mortgage professional. From my interviews and just seeing how you show up in social media, we have common friends that just think the world of you. And you're just a great up and coming, and you're not up and coming anymore. You're a new superstar. So welcome to the channel, brother.
Dude, thank you so much. Always appreciate being here. It's always a lot of fun, encouraging. And I'm always glad to hear that it's a mutual encouragement.
Good. Well, how long have you been an originator now?
Shoot. This is my fourth year originating.
Yeah, fourth year. And what kind of volume are you doing right now?
So this year we should be on track to just peak right above 60 million, if not more, just depending on how the rest of the year goes. So far, last month was a great month. We did about a little over 12 million and served about 22 families. This month we should be on track for about the same.
I like the way you said it served about 22 families because I don't know if anybody caught it, but he did a really cool video, which was just a thank you to the clients that he serves, thank you to his partners, and you broke it down. I did this many refis. I did this many first-time home buyers. I did this many purchases. So there's no about anything in Sosi's life. You knew exactly what you did.
Yeah, it's always fun to be specific, and it's just been a really cool privilege to be where I'm at. Honestly, I don't even have words. I would have never imagined to be in this spot. My wife and I, we look back at previous tax returns and things we were doing, and she kind of laughs at me in a previous life, and it's just amazing. It's really cool to see the platform we get to be a part of right now.
Yeah, well, it's a gift to have you active in the Mortgage Coach community as a leader. Thanks for all the value you bring into this community, and thanks for making time for an interview because it's a insanely busy time in the mortgage business. I want to have a theme in this conversation around being a purpose-driven mortgage professional. I am helping Todd Bookspan do an event next month that's going to be called the Modern Mortgage Summit. And it's really forced me to think deeply, what does it mean to be a modern mortgage originator? And while there's a lot of skills, there's a lot of tactics, when you think of the access of a modern originator, there's no doubt they use technology, and the more they use technology, the smarter they are. Yeah. But there's no doubt they're purpose-driven leaders. So let's talk about that. Like, if I say you're a purpose-driven mortgage professional, what does that mean to you?
For me, I think it's going to be defined from a core perspective, right? What are the convictions? What are the things that drive you? Because from within flow out all the issues of life, right? That center of who you are is going to determine how you perceive business, how you perceive customer service, how you perceive sacrifice, how you make a difference, and how you see opportunities and either see them as platforms of being able to positively impact others, or platforms of being able to take advantage of others, even if it's for your benefit, right? So for me, it's all defined by that driving force within you, that conviction that we all live with. That for me is, when I hear that, that's right away what clicks in mind.
I like that. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and I think I would be doubtful that I'd ever ask a loan officer, are you a purpose-driven mortgage professional? And they'd say no. I think like everybody I'd ask that, I think would say they are. I think different loan officers fumble in terms of like, well, what is your purpose as a mortgage professional? And as I prepare for this event that we're doing, I know there's going to be a couple criteria. That one, you have it written down somewhere. And two, you've actually built it into your value proposition. The way you show up for a client, and the way you describe who you are and what you do, your purpose as a professional that goes beyond, I close loans on time, I have great rates, I keep all my promises, all the things that most loan officers say. From a transactional perspective, they can say it. So What do you share within the sales process, you know, when you're just giving your value prop to a client that would showcase some of your purpose?
Yeah, and even before answering that fully, I would love to just dovetail off of some of your points as far as like a modern professional, and what that really means. I think some of the unique background I've been able to have gives some perspective there that might be helpful for the community as they think about attending your event. And as we all just think about how to help one another. That's one of the things I love about our mortgage coach community, right? Is that everyone is a pay it forward type of professional. We're all trying to give as much advice as we can. People feel free to ask questions. People feel free to correct each other, get guideline kind of best practices. I mean, it's a really sweet group. Too bad we can't all just meet in one place and do something together, but hopefully that'll change in the future. But when I hear modern, I think most people make the mistake to equate modern with technology. And I love that you were separating those two. Because to be frank, especially as we look at the cycle of what sales has gone through, right? We look at historically that consumers have looked for professionals to say, hey, what I'm looking for in a professional is someone who knows their stuff, that can grab me by the hand and lead me correctly. Yet when you think about modern day perspective of professionals, it's not what the consumer wants, right? The consumer wants someone that's going to prove to them what they need to know, not just what they want to know, and prove to them, not just, hey, trust me, but prove to them, this is what you need to know for yourself. And now let's work together on a bridge of trust to get your goals accomplished, right? And to kind of put some color to that, I can use a little bit about just my background with family experience. Right? I've shared on this channel before, the reason I'm in this is because I saw my mom go through really bad mortgage advice. I saw it not be helpful for her. And I saw the disconnect between people who get their license by showing legally they're a good person with some training that really has nothing to do with mortgages, and the difference of actually coming in, educating yourself, becoming a master of your craft, and using that intelligence and using that logic to positively impact others, right? And so in the Latin community, I'm really thankful I was able to make it as I think number 60 on the NAHREP list for National Association of Hispanic
Congratulations.
Professionals. Thanks. It was a big deal. When I first came into this industry, I saw that list. I wanted to be on top 250. First time I hit it, I'm top 100. So blown away and humbled by that. And the experience I've had, especially with the fact that the demographic coming up in the first-time home buyer is a Latin first-time home buyer, right? When we look at that demographic, one of the things that I've seen from personal experience and also being honest with other individuals who have the same background, we talk about how we saw our parents be led by a professional, misguided, and all of a sudden become the horror stories of losing houses, being upside down, having to just, bite the bullet and make choices and sacrifices that they shouldn't have had to make. And now the trust is no longer there. And so when we think of modern, I really do believe we need to separate the knee-jerk reaction of modern equals only technology. Technology is great, right? Dave and I both here have high-def cameras. We have lighting way more than just those above our head on the roof, right? We've tried to be very specific with how our backgrounds work, all that great stuff. Microphones, you can't tell, but I got a lapel right here, right? All of it. Yet we both know that technology is not the definition of modern. Modern is going to be the professional who knows how to present the information in such a way it becomes tangible and empowering to the consumer, right? I used to be a Bible teacher. One of the guys that I listened to a lot, he talked about theology and the beauties of teaching biblical principles by an illustration of saying, you're pretty much taking the cookies from the top of the fridge and bringing it down to the level where the children can eat it. That's how I see the modern mortgage professional, right? Someone who can show, here's how it works, and let me make this tangible enough for you so that you can assimilate the information, be empowered, and make really good decisions that you don't regret. Dave, I know I just said a lot. I don't want to answer the question yet, just in case you want to throw anything else in there.
I gotta throw a few things on. I was talking to Jeremy Forcier the other day as we were developing the content for this summit. And I said, what does a modern originator mean to you? And anyways, you said some things that made me think about it, but he said, a modern originator creates clarity and trust the fastest. And I thought like, wow, that makes total sense. Now, guys, if you're watching this on Facebook, it is Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah.
And Sales Mastery is going on right now, by the way. And tomorrow, I am on a panel with Todd Duncan, Josh Metal, and Denise Donahue. And I think it's called the Modern Mortgage. I don't think, I know it's called the Modern Mortgage Experience. And so guys, first of all, if you are, watching this on Facebook Live and you're not already part of Sales Mastery, sign up today. But guys, it's going to be live and it's also going to be available on demand. So that not bragging, but I think that panel by itself will ROI out a Sales Mastery, whether you get it live or whether you get the on demand. But here's what I would love to have a conversation. If you're watching this right now in our Facebook group, put it in comments. Give me a sentence. What a modern mortgage originator is. Like, what does that mean to you? I'd love to unpack that. So anyways, I love how you frame that. Now I always like to get scripts and value props, and I do want to at some point, pull up whatever you want to show on your screen as you position yourself with a family. But how do you position your mortgage why or your purpose into your sales conversation?
Yeah, great question. One more thing on throughout. Dude, Jeremy's a monster.
Keep going.
He's lasting.
This is great.
Right? Like the good people deserve great advice. I've actually been putting that into some of my scripting, right? And I can just open the conversation that way. So do you know in my process, I usually don't speak to the client until we're actually through the pre-approval piece, right? So there's two kind of different clients that we're looking at. We're looking at clients who are looking to buy a home and we're wanting to get the numbers pre-approved before we actually meet and do our consult. And there's another client that is not really deciding what they want to do yet. It's I'm trying to figure that out kind of conversation. So with those clients, we won't always have everything 1,000% confirmed, but I'm still not the first communicator to them there, right? And so our team has a structure where the first phone call is taken by another member of our team, fantastic individual, shows them what to expect. Here's our first phone call. We're going to set up a meeting. Is that good with you? They always say yes, right? That's one of the funny things that I first saw when I came into this industry. I was scared to tell them what the next steps were because I thought rapport equaled commitment. And what I needed to do was sell rapport. When in fact, if I'm being a part of a sales transaction that provides a massive amount of debt, what I need to do is create a process that brings in clarity and delivers what they need at the end of it to be in a good place they can enjoy love, peace, happiness, a home, right? And so when I first jump on the call, it is a Zoom call, and I do it like this face-to-face before I share the screen. And one of the first things I say is, I'm really excited to meet with you. I'm going to be honest here. I know this is our first meeting. And so before I become a narcissist and take over the conversation and go through everything I want to go through, is there anything at the forefront of your mind that you'd like addressed? Any concerns that I can answer? Anything I can do to help create a better experience for you as we go through all these details? Right? That's my first step.
Love that.
Modern is making a transparent communication piece that actually feels like two people speaking intelligently to one another out of respect so we can build a bridge to making a really good solution for what they're trying to resolve. So first step, do you want me to keep going or you want to throw anything else?
Yeah, no, you're on a roll.
Beautiful. Well, after that, right, I start sharing my screen and they usually would see my presentation. It comes up, the consultation, the picture of me. If it's Friday or Saturday and I'm doing a consult, I'll usually throw out a joke that I'm usually dressed like the guy in the picture, but right now it's casual Friday, blah, blah, blah. Great laugh. From there, we go straight into numbers, right? And we just start the conversation going, hey, congratulations, you are pre-approved up to this figure. Now, our goal in this conversation isn't going to be for me to just show you rate, terms, monthly payments, and show you what you can do. I want this to be an experience where you have the opportunity to speak with somebody who knows how to logistically show you in true numbers what you're thinking and how it actually looks. So that through this conversation, we can help you conclude not just what you can do, but what you should do. That's when we go into a TCA. We go through the numbers. I show them my first example, maybe two examples. And as I'm showing that to them, I also create it in front of them. I know that's not everyone's style, but that is ours. I'll actually open up OB. I'll show them what margins are. I'll show them here's where I'm at. Here's what we can do with credits. Here's when we go to discount points. Here's what rates are as a whole. Here's how they're impacted by the mortgage-backed security. I illustrate it to gas stations. Now, oil trading impacts those prices, how mortgage-backed securities impacts our rates, and just give them some details to understand the nuts and bolts of it from a high-level position. From there, numbers created. Go ahead.
No, Sosi, yeah. So, we last did that the last interview that I interviewed you was in November. So it was pre-COVID, and, going from memory, it had a picture of you, standing on the side, and then you had some slides. That was like a pyramid for cost. What are the 3 keys of successful homeownership? By the way, anybody who's listening to this and you want to hear the first interview that we did in November of 2019, super relevant. I'll put a link down below in show notes. But has anything changed on those slides other than you're doing it because you did a lot of in-person meetings before, and now they're all on Zoom? Anything else changed? Have you updated the slides at all?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys listen, I'm not speaking to everyone right now, but I listened to the Bill Hart and Renee Rodriguez interview. Wow. Right? Like, I listen to Renee every time he's on with you. I love the dude. I can't wait to be at Amplify this next coming, at the next event. I don't think I'll be able to make October, but I know that I'm signed up for the one right after that. And the stuff that he shared, the way that individuals today, make an excuse for themselves saying, consumers have a short attention span, therefore I don't want to spend more time with them, right? Is just completely an unsubstantial opinion, right? Because people binge watch. It's not an attention span problem, it's an entertainment problem. And so, yeah, I redid my slides. I made them a little more modern, a little more techy. My first thing that I started seeing was that I want to get into the numbers right away. I want to go into the TCA. So I don't know if you want me to share it. Do you want me to share it?
Yeah, yeah. And if I know that some of what you do is proprietary and you don't want to share it, but if there are some slides that you're willing to share after the presentation, our community, loves to learn like that. So anything you want to share afterwards, just send me the PDF or however you want to share it. But yeah, I'm looking at that. It's a little different.
Yeah, I mean, I just started this week. I redid it because I listened to his interview and I was like, okay, I got to figure out something that's going to play with the cycle.
I love that, man. Just upgrading your game, baby. Love it.
You got it. It's always switching, right? And so right away we go into the total cost analysis.
Ooh,
this is the personal
my baby
numbers website, right? This is where I'm going to send this to you afterwards. We're going to review it. I'm going to show you how to read it. We're going to go through options that we create. And then from there, we're going to be in a position for you to really know what you need to do moving forward. So I click on this little hyperlink. It takes me to my mortgage coach, right? Sign in,
Sweet.
Get all that stuff taken care of. And then I go straight into the presentations. I don't know if you want me to jump into one right now or if you want me to keep going through the slides.
Well, show me a couple more slides before we do that. I just want to see a few more of your new Sosi moves.
Yeah. So another thing that I feel gets lacked is taking control of this experience a little better, right? When you buy your house, when you sell and buy, I don't know if everyone on the call has done it. I'm assuming most of us have done it, but in modern day, it gets really crazy, right? Not only do I do a consultation with the client when we first start, but I also do a contract meeting, which caused me to be a little late to this last meeting because there was a lot of questions there. And when I do the contract meeting, right, we talk through now what to expect. Because at the end of the day, I remind them there's 5 different companies working on your file right now. So you have 5 different chefs in the kitchen, all with their own parts. Your lender, your realtor, escrow, title, their realtor. All 5 different companies with 5 different categories and 5 different jobs and objectives, and we're all trying to work together. And so for me, I take it as a personal responsibility to make sure that the mantra I shared last time that was birthed from extreme ownership and from coaching with Ryan was not only if you create the experience, you'll create the outcome, but seeing that from the aspect of whatever results you get are your fault, good or bad, right? And so if I can help this client have an amazing experience, that's the game changer. Last month, not only was I so proud that our team was able to impact 22 families, but I think within the first 2 weeks, I look back at the reviews and I had over 10 5-star reviews from those 22 families, long paragraphs, right? I had one even just go on the Better Business Bureau after they left it on Google, Yelp, and Zillow, right? They go on the Better Business Bureau and they talk about how they got married throughout the process. And even in the midst of a marriage ceremony in COVID season, they bought a house as a first-time home buyer and they didn't stress once. That for me was just, I could go to sleep with a smile on my face that day. Now when I'm depressed and I have to read something to encourage me, I can just go there.
Love it. So hey, well, it's cool. I did want to call out, notice guys, he calls it the total cost analysis, your personal numbers website. So I did want to just call out that little nuance. I think it's super slick, but go on to the next slide now.
So the next slide is what the process should be, right? This is where, you know, some of the aspects that I feel that we drop the ball as mortgage professionals is helping somebody know what to expect throughout the process instead of relying on another professional to be the communicator, right? And so I share with them that right off the bat, and, you know, Dave, I don't know if you recall from our last meeting, but everything for me is about ownership and about setup and about creating right expectations. And so what I've started seeing is that clients get told with conventional wisdom, right? Go get pre-approved so you can see a house. Go find a realtor to open the door for you, and then outbid the rest of the competition in order to get the house. And then once you get the house, then go back to your lender. And if you don't like his rates anymore, go shop them. Right? And then you look at it as a lender and you get ticked off and you go, don't they know how much hours I spent answering their questions? Don't they know how the teams that I have on my team, the families that I have sacrificed family time to be able to pre-approve them and be available for them and all this stuff, right? We get ticked off the client when it's our fault. And so I change a little bit about the way I explain the process, and I show them the first step in the process is identify your options, which we just did. Why? Because 44% of Americans regret their real estate decision within the first 2 to 3 years, according to some surveys. The next step is choosing your lender power. Because even though conventional wisdom does it the other way, the way it should be is your lender should be actively involved in ensuring that the numbers, the offer you're placing still stay within your comfort, and then couple alongside the real estate agent and getting your offer accepted at the best price. So the first step is not just getting a letter for the sake of a letter. It's finding a team that you can trust, because for the most part, we're all right there in the competitive world with rates. It's going to be more important to find somebody that you know is going to deliver for you the home instead of just a rate, because having a low rate with a pre-approval and never getting a house is not worth sacrificing choosing someone you can trust to actually get you home. So we go into that, right? Gosh, it's a whole hour presentation, but pretty much I go through options, all that stuff, right? And then I talk about our successful home ownership, right? Because the last step of owning a home is having success, because that's the point of it. And that's where we talk about our successful home ownership, about making sure that we go over all the things we offer, the professional resources, the concierge, the monthly digest reports with HomeBot, the art of home ownership, pretty much capsulized in just this list, and then ultimately asking how they feel. And my last question is reminding them of the first step, making a decision on your lender power, and asking them if they'd like to work together, and finishing it with a little bit of a brightness and a little more joy and energy, right? To kind of just say thank you. So
love it. So let's go back to where you did the TCA. I want you guys to all notice he's got it so he can launch right into Mortgage Coach. So interesting to note that you're having the Mortgage Coach conversation before you're getting into transactional expectation management. And I think it's important because he's going beyond the transaction. He gave them space at the opening. What do you want to talk about? He knows their hopes, their dreams, their goals, and he knows what's most important to them because he told them. And now he's going into Mortgage Coach, where he just looks like a wizard. I mean, to Jeremy's point, you are earning trust at the speed of light right now because you're putting that in. So let's pull up a TCA, because I always just think, I got one takeaway, how your personal numbers website. Walk us through a strategy. Is this a pretty common one in today's market, or is this kind of a unique one?
Yeah, this is a pretty common one, right? This is the knee-jerk reaction, and I kind of feel that I'm on a crusade right now to combat conventional wisdom, right? Taking a page out of Josh Meadows' book, right? Price or advice will always be price. And so being able to just be on that foundation, when we have a conversation with somebody who wants to refi, one of the things that we share with them is that we want to ensure from a fiduciary perspective, we help them look at all options in a way that they're not going to regret what they did. And what do we mean by that is not this means of trying to get another loan from them. Because if we get them the last loan they're ever going to be in their life, it's going to make us extremely happy. But at the same time, if we get them in a loan that all of a sudden 2 to 3 years later, they realize, oh, I do need to make a move because children, family, we're bringing in mother or father. And now all of a sudden you have to be in a situation that you wish you would have been in earlier. That's a game changer, right? And so we talk about the knee-jerk reaction. Conventional wisdom right now tells everyone rates are in the 2s, refi. Not necessarily what you should do, right? And so can we do it? Let's do it. You want to refi? Let's do it. But let's just make sure you've explored all the options that actually will benefit you. So for example, on this one, right, this was a higher net worth client. They came over to us from a financial advisor. And when they came over, we're looking at the potentials of a refi. And when we're looking at the refi, we look at, hey, if we refi currently right now your house, here's where the value's at. I teach them how to look at value, what appraisers look at, showed them rates, showed them the monthly payments. And obviously, if you see here, all 3 monthly payments are equal, which means that we're having a reduction payment, right? And so when we did the reduction payment, I'm showing them, let's think of this in the best possible way for you staying in this house. So let's look at a reduction payment. I also took that reduction payment and I even split some first at looking at investments by adding more money to an investment account as well. So you see 241 reduction, 241 investment account. And from there, I showed them, okay, from a long-term perspective, when we're looking at this in 5 years, here's what our net worth is going to be looking like. Here's the difference of equity. Here's the difference of liquid capital, right? The financial advisor loved that. Yet we took it a step further and we said, okay, why are we looking at this 5 years? Well, it's because they shared with us that they're probably going to move in 5 years. And so I showed them, if you move, here's the equity you could be looking at. And when they saw that they could potentially be looking at $832,000 of equity, they were like, oh my gosh, that's great. That means I could buy the house I actually want. So in 5 years, so we'll refi now, and in 5 years, we'll buy 2.5. So I showed them, okay, let's look at a 2.5. Here's what it's going to look like. And let's say rates in 5 years are actually starting to touch the 4%. It isn't ridiculous because what, 2.5 years ago, we're touching the 5s. What do you guys think of this payment? They don't want that house anymore, right? And so we play backwards. And we show, okay, so if we sold now and we ran the numbers and you use that equity to leverage yourself in a position where you can still buy the new house that's going to be worth 2.5 potentially in 5 years, how does this payment look like for you in the grand scheme of things of wanting to buy that $2.5 million house? Because for you and your neighborhood and what you're trying to do, you're going to have more kids and you're going to grow out of this house pretty quickly. And it's ridiculous, right? To think about such high prices and it not being enough space, but sadly in some counties, this is not a very big house. And so from a net worth perspective, I wanted to show this as an example because I think if anybody's like me, right, you get a little intimidated to talk about things where it just seems so high. But I hope this shows the beauty of breaking down things in a very tangible way, especially with tools and make it super easy and show here's what it actually looks like just from a plain and simple numbers, black and white perspective. How would you like to move forward? These clients have fantastic jobs, high leadership jobs, and it was one of the most fun conversations I've had in a while. It made me really proud.
I love this. Well, you should be proud of yourself, bro. This is great leadership. You helped a client think of things differently, and you gave them more clarity. So I think this is a great TCA. Are you going to be able to share a copy of this TCA that we can put in show notes?
Yeah, absolutely. And I should share too, don't think my average loan amount is 1.2. This was far and few between, but I wanted to show an example of these things that become intimidating that honestly don't have to be.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, I don't know if you saw this. I'm going to grab my screen real quick. Did you happen to see the interview I did or any highlights from the interview with Amber Kovarik? Not with Amber. No, not yet. So I'm going to give you a highlight, and I want you to tell me what you think of this TCA. So this interview, I think it's actually, well, it's definitely the most viewed interview in the past couple months. She actually has been viewed more than Jeremy's interview. And I call it going beyond the
Love it.
transaction with Amber. Now, when I interviewed her, it was like the first week of the month, and she had closed 45 loans the month prior to that,
Crazy.
out of Chandler, Arizona. So, I mean, she kills it, does a lot of volume. And here's the story, guys. So first, I think it's important when you look at what Sosi did, he shows options. So you're not getting mortgage advice if you don't get options. He's showing the cost over different windows of time. And then he actually showed two different strategies in that particular TCA. He showed a prepay strategy and invest the difference in an interest-bearing account. So that was, a pure ninja move. But guys, these are the three essentials of making smart mortgage decisions. So you might want to create a Sosi version of this slide, because this really is the difference between a loan officer. Guys, loan officers give fee worksheets that look like this, rate, payment, cash to close. And guys, by the way, a fee worksheet, it costs more rate shopping. It reduces your loan volume because you don't convert as much. And guys, you don't get as many referrals. So when you give static fee worksheet, it's not nearly the experience of a mortgage coach report. But let's get into this case study, and I want you to give me your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
So she shared two different case studies, but I loved this one. This was a client that came to her with a refi, and they were in a $436,000 home, and the refi could have saved them $322. But they had told her, you know what? She had asked them this question: is the house you're in still working for? And she says what she does refis, about 20 to 25% of the people say, well, I would like an extra room. I would like a bigger kitchen. I'm going to be doing more virtual work. So she's asking this question of every refi. And then let's net it out, guys. She could have refinanced for $322. The move up home for this family was $525 to get the room in the school district they wanted, and it would have raised their payment by $507. And now this family had equity, so they had a choice. They're like, okay, we qualify. We could buy the move up no non-contingent, so they could take the $125 and recast the mortgage. So after they close on the new home, they could recast the mortgage, and their payment would have gone down $164. But what this family decided to do is say, hey, we want to be more liquid after COVID. We've got a financial planner that's earning 8%. Let's just put 6% in. And guys, here's the story here. This is the story for the family. Her advice took a refi and turned it into a move up. And then here's the case study for the family. The family improved liquidity. Who doesn't want to do that in COVID times? The family improved net worth. Family gets to dream home. And guys, here's the other one. Tell me what you think about this, Sosi. Now she's got a refi to bring to an agent that's a move up listing and a move up buyer. So just a trifecta of value. What do you think about that, Sosi?
Love it. I think she just positioned herself in a fantastic way of being the type of referrals we would want to have, right? No one wants to have the referral that says, hey, I heard you give the lowest rates, or I heard you were just the sweetest person. If we're really honest with ourselves, if we're trying to do this right, you want the type of referrals that she just set up. I heard you give the best advice, and no one's going to help me grow my wealth as well as you, right? She hit it, right? That's what she's going to be getting referred as. That's awesome.
Yeah. So guys, one more move I want to give you guys right now. This is something I've been teaching loan officers. As you notice how big screen, we're on Zoom, you can see our picture. I want you guys to get good at what Sosi's doing. He's got times where he's showing a slide. So there's a time where a slide makes sense, but you notice he knows how to build in hyperlinks into words. We do this all the time at Mortgage Coach. So I could go from, I'm showing you a slide. It could even be a video within a slide. So I've got a consistent experience where I'm explaining it, I'm storytelling, and then I've got a hyperlink. I want to make sure you guys know how to do that. That takes you, in Sosi's case, he launches into Mortgage Coach back in. In this particular case, I was able to launch into her TCA. So, and then I also want you guys to, there's a time when you want to have a slide or you want to have a TCA up. But like if this slide has been up there for a long time, it's time to like take it down. You know, get good at putting the technology up for storytelling, and then get good at going back and forth from full screen to personal connection. So see, I have to imagine you probably do that a lot in your conversations.
It's been, yeah, definitely. I mean, those slides are kind of, depending on what the client's needs are, there's tools there, right? So any of those words that I need to kind of tap onto to show the bond market, TCA, to show testimonials, to show reviews, it's pivoting, right? Anybody who's really good at, if you want to use the illustration of going to war, needs to know what weapons you have. And so, yeah, having your quiver fully loaded is going to always be the most helpful.
Okay, one more question. We're a little over time, so I apologize to you, Sosi, because I know you're busy.
Good.
So let's go into wrap-up mode. When you have the TCA and we have the social survey at the bottom where it has reviews, do you talk about your reviews within the context of the total cost analysis? Do you use that feature?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those funny ones, right? That you kind of zoom out your screen just enough so they can see it, and they usually point it out before I do.
Could you pull up your TCA one more time real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just show your TCA for those of you that don't know what we're talking about. Our integration with Social Survey enables the most recent 5-star review to show up in the bottom. So I just wanted to get your scripting on, you know, when or how do you leverage that within the sales conversation?
Yeah, usually so a couple pieces with me, right? I'm not the regimented, let me go piece by piece type of script. Let me have a bunch of different conversation tools to have, and we just build through that. But I do have a lot of kind of script tools that I kind of insert. And so as we're talking through advice, you know, and I mentioned that the reason why not only referral partners send clients our way, but the community and our clients themselves send clients our way is because we're able to really impact them positively. And I would encourage them to, before making any decision, especially if they're shopping me, before making any decision with who you're going to trust as a financial resource for your family, ensure that you're doing a check on exactly what's going on with them. Go through their reviews, see if people are actually just writing one line, they did great and great rates, or if they've actually written more where they're speaking about their experience in a way that shows true meaning and shows true value. I'm really proud of the families we've served. I'm really excited to be able to show that we've been able to be a part of this family's journey in getting home. And I'd love for you to go read it and decide for yourself what resource you'd like to utilize.
Love that. Boom, another script. So let's go into wrap up. Let's pull this down. You know, one of the things that's cool about this event that I'm going to be doing, Todd, is not only are we going to have keynotes, but we're going to have like 3 and 5 minute how-tos. And Sosi said something that I know a lot of top producers do. They've got personal scripts, sales phrases, success words, and they have them systemized. So it's not like he has the same conversation with everyone, but you'll notice that Sosi has words that he uses, you know, call them Sosi words, that have positive energy. They show his personality. He's got phrases. I can already see it from the last time I interviewed him. I can't remember what they are off the top of my head, but I'm just like, oh, Sosi word, Sosi
conviction.
Phrase.
That's definitely one.
Yeah, well, they're convictions. So you guys should write those down, you know, document that, be intentional about that. And Sosi, let's close out with this question. So if there's a loan officer on this call, you were a new loan officer 4 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. Yeah. Or if there's a loan officer on this call that, you know, just needs to dig a little deeper to be purpose-driven mortgage professional, just give us like 1 to 2 minutes from Sosi, how to be how you would advise, like if Ryan hired a new loan officer and they came here and they said, Sosi, your job is, you got 5 minutes with this guy, although in this case you only got a minute or two. What would be some steps to become, and you know, some journaling they could do, some thoughts? What would be your advice?
Yeah, I think the first advice is to understand that your convictions, your drives are going to be birthed from your vision. And this does come in the manifestation of deciding your why, deciding the selfish why, like all the really cool things we've learned from this community, but it also comes from seeing the result, right? Where are you in the result process? So what I mean by that, and let me back it up and share this. When you actually start realizing that all of us here, right? Like when I think about, over the 100 families I helped last year, and I realize that that's 100 different individual family units that share in love, that share in care, that share in stress, that I got to be a part of. The fact that I was able to help a working mom and dad create a place where a child can have a roof and during COVID they can be safe. A place where I helped them set up their finances so that potentially now they have extra money for a computer so their child can be in school, right? When you actually start realizing that this isn't just a one-piece type of impact that doesn't have any results in people's lives. This is a massive, massive opportunity that is going to completely change somebody's life for the good or the worse, right? That when you do that, that's the first thing I would say if you're trying to find purpose, right? You don't know what your purpose is until you see what actual results you're a part of and what process you're a part of. And when you see that bigger picture, I think it's natural for all of us to then be taken over, right? Like Dave and I were talking about lions before this. And when you see something so majestic in real life, a big cat with a roar, what happens? You get overwhelmed. When you see the true majesty, the majestic aspect in helping a family create a new legacy for themselves, I don't know any good person who wouldn't be impacted by that in a positive way and get a new purpose in what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Yeah, I love what you said. And it just makes me think, if you're new to this business, you need to go beyond the transaction, like the rate, the payment, to cash, to close. The key, one of the cornerstones of purpose is to understand the long-term value of the result that you deliver. So if you helped a family get a loan and buy a home, what did that do for them 10 and 15 years from now? That's where the true value comes. Hey, you mentioned the selfish why. Did you get that from that interview I did with Jeremy Forcier, selfish why?
Yeah, that was really good. I mean, it was great to be able to have somebody else be the selfish one before you, so you can actually admit you actually have the same desires, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes there are little insecurities.
Yeah, well, I just shared that highlight to that video, and we don't have time. We're going to wrap this up, but at the end of the day, there's a why that is customer focused, purpose driven, beyond yourself. Yeah. And then you know what? There's a why that's just me. Jeremy wants a plane. He wants to be rich. He wants to have a lot of money in the bank, and he had a number. I want to have this money in the bank. I want to fly in a private jet someday, but he also has it written down. Good people deserve great advice.
Yeah.
And he's done 5,000 plus TCAs. So Sosi, we went way over, but dude, I get on the phone with you or on the Zoom and I can't stop because you have such a magnetic personality, dude.
Thanks, brother. Feelings mutual. I'm excited. This was a really good talk. Gave me some energy for the rest of the day.
Appreciate you, dude. So if you got value for this guy, give us a like down below. Share this with your mortgage friends. This is a wrap. Take care, y'all.